Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mounties Midweek. I'm Drew Patrick. On today's show, Ryan Clifford climbs atop the record books. We talk softball and sisterhood with the McGoverns, and we pull back the curtain once more to focus on the academic side of a student athlete. Ryan Clifford traveled to Williamsburg, Virginia to run the 10K at the Colonial Relays. It was a historic day for him. He finishes with a time of 31:05.76, and Clifford now stands alone at the top of the record books for the men's 10K for Mansfield University Track and Field, beating the previous record of 31:30 set in 1980 by Rob Marino. That time also is a PSAC qualifier. Clifford's teammates took part in the Millersville Metrics a day later. 10 Mountaineer personal records were set, and Mansfield had a number of great finishes. Those finishes included Kenzie Jones, who won the 3K steeplechase with a time of 11:48.61, and Hunter Watkins with a javelin throw of 62:40. It was the sixth best throw in Watkins' career. The Mountaineers will return to action next Sunday, April 14th, as they travel to the campus of Bucknell University to take part in the Bison Outdoor Classic. Mansfield softball had a busy weekend this past week. Pitt Johnstown was the first opponent. In Game 1, Mansfield kept it tight, but the Mountain Cats played 2 runs in the top of the 7th, and that proved to be too much. Mansfield drops the game by a score of 4-2. Game 2 got away from the Mountaineers, and Mansfield had a rough 5th inning, and Pitt Johnstown gets the sweep. Mansfield traveled to Clarion on Sunday looking to right the ship, and boy did they. Game 1, Mansfield had a dominant first inning, plating 7 runs, and then continued to score runs in every inning. Mansfield won the game 15-4 in 5 innings. Freshman Lacey O'Donnell had the game of her life. She was 3 for 4 with a single, a double, a triple, and had 6 RBIs. In the second game, again, the bats came alive. Alex Hine was a perfect 3 for 3 on the day, and she had 4 RBIs to go with it. Abby Woodard had her first career home run, and that was the cherry on top of that game. Mansfield wins 18-5. The Mounties hit the road on Friday to battle Lock Haven. Baseball was bustling this past week. They started with 4 games against Lock Haven. The Bald Eagles played host on Saturday. Mansfield could not find their bats in that first game. Lock Haven, they had a 3-run second inning, and that was enough. The Mounties lose the game by a score of 5-0. Evan McAndrew was saddled with the loss. In the second game, Mansfield was tied going into the 6th inning, thanks to a 2-run home run off the bat of Brady Mangle in the top of the 6th. Then Eric Sr. also joins the home run party, cracks a solo shot. But the bottom of the inning, Lock Haven walks it off, plating 2, and the Mountaineers drop a heartbreaker. They return to Mansfield on Sunday. Lock Haven led early thanks to a 3-run bomb, and the Mountaineers, they made a surge in the 5th inning to get within 1 run, but just couldn't get over the hump, dropping the game by a score of 7-5. The second game, again, the Mansfield bats went quiet. After plating 1 in the first, Mansfield was shut out the rest of the way, dropping the contest 4-1. Mansfield then took the long trek to Slippery Rock on Tuesday. In Game 1, Brady Mangle went yard again, but the Mountaineers lose this game by a score of 11-6. In Game 2, a rough 2 innings doomed the Mountaineers and they lost by a score of 9-4. Mansfield will return home to host the Marauders of Millersville on Friday before traveling down there for the final 2 games of the conference series on Saturday. Let's take a look at what else is coming up this week for Mansfield Athletics. Do not go anywhere. Sports Talk is on the other side of the break.
Small community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to North Central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's switch gears and talk track and field as we have Ryan Clifford and Kenzie Jones in studio with us. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Sure.
So let's talk about this past week, and you guys are ridiculous. But let's start with you, Ryan Clifford. Another day, another record, it seems like. The 10K, what worked and how did you get this record?
Yeah, so running the 10K, me and Coach Roel talked about some of the specific strategies, and we kind of determined early on in the season that we were going to go for the school record. So what we had to do is, with like kind of those events, those longer distance events, a lot of the times when you go to some of these meets, there's not a lot of competition there, because a lot of the influx of people, they go to just specific meets so they can compete and have people to actually run with, because it's such like a long event, 25 laps around the track. So we were going to run a couple weeks ago at Rally Relays, but I was overcoming an injury, but I got over that. So then we competed this past weekend at Colonial Relays in Virginia, which is a really competitive meet, a Division I meet. And we were able to get a really good time, break a 39-year school record. So I was happy with that.
And Kenzie, a first place finish for you as well this past weekend. What worked in your race?
Yeah, so this was my first steeple race of the year, and I just wanted to go out and get a good time, qualify for PSACs, and I was able to do that. Just going out in the race, I just wanted to have fun with it and focus on my form and just nailing the barriers.
So I guess I can ask you each individually. I'll start with you, Ryan, because obviously you mentioned 25 laps around a track. Sometimes your mind can wander, but how do you stay focused for each one of those laps, and what do you focus on to make sure you're still in the race?
Yeah, so a big thing with the 10K is you don't want to go out too fast, because if you go out too fast, you're going to probably die later in the race, especially if you can't handle the longer distances. But kind of me and Coach came up with like a strategy before we started the race that I was going to keep track of my kilometers, 10 kilometers in the race. So every 2.5 laps, I would hit my watch, like split my watch, and then Coach was calling out splits every 400 meters just to make sure I was on kind of the pace that we thought I could run. And then I was just kind of making my way up the pack, started kind of in the back. There were, I think, 42 people that started the race, and I started probably like 39th. And then I was slowly made my way up to 23rd by the end of it. But I was able to just kind of move up and just kind of kept concentrated and just kind of kept closing the gaps and being able to actually catch people kind of just kept me engaged. So it wasn't as bad as you would think.
So, I mean, I'm sure it helps to have all those runners there in front of you. That way you can keep kind of picking off. But the key to a 10K will be, I'm guessing, is consistency. So do you, obviously you guys have the watches and everything set, but how difficult, for the average person who really hasn't really run a lot, how difficult is it, especially late in that 10K, to maintain that same pace?
Yeah, well, a lot of the times in those races, I mean, when it comes to championship seasons, it's a different ball game. You're trying to negative split and kick really hard at the end. But with those, kind of to run the fastest time, you have to be able to run pretty consistent. And Kenzie can attest to this. She's avid 10K runner herself, but being able to just like stay focused and kind of keep on that is very important.
Yeah, so I'll go to you, Kenzie, if you want to just echo that on what are the keys to maintaining that constant during the 10K?
Just for me, when I run the 10K, I would focus primarily on each lap. It's really, you got to take it one small step at a time to finish in the big picture.
And I'll go to you first for steeplechase. I know you both run in the steeplechase, but then I guess a twist then on that, where you now have the barriers in front of you, and how much energy does that actually take out of you during the races?
It takes a lot. There's, making sure that your footing is right, like lining it up and making sure that you can jump over the barriers, and then actually jumping over the barriers and like landing and getting focused on going to the next one. It takes a lot just to get all that down.
Yeah, I honestly, kind of exactly what Kenzie said. Being able to accelerate that's kind of a big thing, accelerating into the barriers and making sure you're not shortening your steps and kind of stuttering before, because those are all precious seconds. And like a lot of the times you'll think about the race and it's like, wow, you have to jump over 35 barriers. But most of the race you're running. So you want to spend as little time in the air as possible and kind of stick on the ground and be able to stay on the track.
I would imagine too in the steeplechase some challenges, especially if you end up in a group when you get to a barrier. So what do you have to do in that situation? Like if you're with a group and you're like, oh no, where is the spot where I'm going to be able to get over the barrier? What do you have to do? And then I guess with footwork, or what do you have to do to make sure that this stays clean with everyone here?
I think in a group, for me at least, you need to be aggressive about your position, but also making sure that you give yourself enough room to get over the barrier and land and keep going.
Yeah, a lot of the times, especially with distance races, a lot of people aren't too like mean, and they'll like if you've run the race before, you'll know to separate a little bit, and it won't be as close as a tight knit pack in like say a 5K or 10K, but like people will still be pretty close. And just maybe cut their stride length in between people about a half stride. So,
I think I've talked to some of you guys about this, but you guys are in a unique position as a Mansfield athlete because you really don't have an off season. Maybe the summer if you're lucky, but you're still working out. So how much of a benefit though is that, the fact that you've had those 2 seasons going into the outdoor season?
I think it's very rewarding because you're able to stay in shape. But as I've mentioned previously, it's very tiring too because it's just running for the whole entire year, and it's like a job, and you're just constantly doing it, but it's fun regardless.
Yeah, I have to say the progression, just to see like how far you've come in a year, that's really cool to see. And yeah, just
because I mean, too, there are definitely different unique skill sets that you guys really have to focus on between the three. It's not a constant. You get outdoor and a long stretch, and then the short turns, and now the bigger turns. So honestly, what are the differences, especially in these distance events, for you, say with cross country and then indoor and outdoor?
I think for me, cross country is like, it's such a long, like cross country is such a long season. It's it's a whole entire semester essentially. So that is like the beginning of the season. You're kind of just racing to like get back into what you did last outdoor season usually. And then when you get into indoor track is pretty short. It's like a half semester, and then outdoor track's a half semester as well. And that, I mean, cross country, like I just mentioned, is a whole entire semester. So you really only have a little bit of time to kind of perform and kind of hit your marks that you're trying to hit.
Yeah, so I just think the differences in racing, definitely the distances that we have to do. So in cross country, the women do 6K, men do 8K and 10K, depending on if it's a championship race or not. And definitely, I think the mindset that you have going into the races for cross country, it can be unpredictable. There can be different things about the course. There could be hills, there could be a lot of mud, unpredictable things. And then in track, especially in indoor, it becomes more predictable. You know what to expect. If you're going to run a 3K, you're going to run however many laps. And then, when you get to outdoor, for us, it's a little bit more flexibility because we have distances like the 10K and steeple.
But for those shorter events, like the sprinters, you only have a couple events, so
right.
You're kind of running this, like, if you're a mid-distance runner, you're running like the 800, sometimes the 1500, but you're pretty much running that every single meet. So there's a lot of flexibility, like you mentioned.
And this week, a shorter travel than you guys have really done, down to Lewisburg for Bucknell. What do you expect, and what are your plans for this meet?
I know for me, I'm going to be running the steeplechase and hopefully being able to PR, move higher up in the PSAC. I haven't looked at the results from last weekend, but from the steeplechase a couple weeks ago, I think I was still ranked first in the conference right now. So maybe being able to actually, hopefully, improve my time and kind of give myself more confidence, especially after kind of a short injury I had.
So this weekend I'll be running the 5K, and I'm looking to qualify for a conference meet, and I'm just looking to run a good time.
And of course, the conference meet is going to be here, which is going to be nice for you guys. Is that going to be, obviously I don't want you looking that far ahead yet, but how much of a benefit is that going to be come the time when you have a championship event on the track that you guys practice on?
Right, so so actually we had the conference meet a few years ago when we were freshmen, and I ran the 10K there, and it was really nice not to have to travel so far to go to the conference meet. And it was just really nice being at home, and I think it's really awesome for both of us because we're seniors, finishing our careers at Mansfield.
Where it started.
Where it started, yeah. So I think it's going to be a fun time for both of us, and we'll have hopefully good races. Yeah,
hopefully. I mean, I'm looking to compete in a lot of events, and hopefully if I faceplant in the steeplechase, all my family and friends get to see it. You too, they'll get to see a faceplant.
Well, we hope that doesn't happen, but thank you both so much for stopping by here.
Yeah. Thanks.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
As I've gone through school, I've been trying to pay off my tuition as I go, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of the Mansfield Foundation.
I mean, the Mansfield Foundation already helped me a lot. As of right now, I don't have any school debt whatsoever, and I know the Mansfield Foundation has definitely helped with all the scholarships that I've received over the years for that.
The Mansfield Foundation has helped me out several times throughout my college career. They have helped keep my finances intact.
If you have any sort of instincts, you can get a feel of good people and bad people. Like the people at the foundation are as straightforward as they come.
It's all part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here, offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's talk softball as we have sisters here at the desk. Allie and Leah McGovern, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about that. The fact that you guys are our sisters playing on this team, how has that been for you?
Honestly, it has brought us very close. It was really weird growing up playing on the same team. I never really liked cheering for her, but ever since probably like high school, it's really brought us closer, especially coming to the same college. We live together, we win together, we lose together.
Yeah, I'm still roommates here in college too, so it's been nice. Definitely gonna be hard leaving after this year. We've been together for what, like ever since we were 8 and 10. We played travel ball together, so we've been together through it all.
So, and along with that, so obviously you get the ups and the downs of everything, but what it has been really the most rewarding part about playing with each other?
I think coming to college, it was kind of nice for her that I was already here and she had someone to lean towards and I could teach her kind of the roles of the team here, so it's been nice to be with each other.
Honestly, seeing her succeed and grow throughout the years since, like she said, we've been playing since I was 8 and she was 10. I was just kind of a tag along. I never really played, but she always played, and just seeing her become a better player throughout the years has really inspired me and has been the most rewarding part of this, seeing her launch a double off the wall at IUP and scoring those RBIs. Like that's honestly makes me the happiest sister, most proud sister.
So this past week, of course, the weather never seems to cooperate. It's just the way these things work. So games constantly moved. When you have that and when there's no real set schedule, how difficult is that to adapt? Or by this time in your career, does that come naturally?
Yeah, kind of like when you hit your senior year, you just expect it. You know, you never play on your actual scheduled day, it seems like. But this year we've been fortunate. It's been kind of good this year. We've been getting our games in, so we're not very far behind, but it's definitely like there's definitely no set schedule. You know, you just go day by day, and it's hard academically, but you just got to prepare, you know, work ahead and then prepare for the best, prepare for the worst.
And that's what another thing that I'm most proud about with this team is they are so on top of their academic schedule that no matter what we do, no matter where we play, they're always ready to go. They always have their academics under control. And I know we had a lot of academic honors recently throughout the school, so that's awesome with this team.
So that first series, obviously a series that got away from you guys, and a series you felt going into it that you could really take. When that happens, when you have two games that get away from you, what do you have to do and what do you have to say as a unit to, all right, this didn't go, but we have to turn around and rebound?
We've really been focusing on staying together as a team. So it's things that we can control and also things that we can't control. So we kind of have to focus on what did we do wrong and what do we have to focus on either in a short period of time when we have to play the next day, or what can we focus on in practice to really get together and work together as a team to either fix communication issues, defense, offense, little things that we can tweak within ourselves, but also as a team.
And I know chemistry on the field is very important as well. And to be really in those spots, how important is communication too, especially as a center fielder and second base? How important is having that communication with everyone else on the field to make sure that everyone, A, knows their role, but also you can lead if you have to lead?
It's huge. Coming in and playing center field as a freshman, I really had to learn that quickly. You just have to step up when you need to be. You have to know who you got on your sides, who you got in front of you, make sure they know, hey, I'm a step to the left, hey, I'm a step to the right. If Joelle has a problem with the sun, I need to know that, or anybody that comes in or steps in, that I need to know what their strong point is in communication and what's not. And it's very important, especially everybody on the team knowing their role. Like, someone has to be on the runner, someone has to be always constantly cheering or stepping up in a big situation. It's huge, and our team is very dependent on communication and very good at stepping up when need to be.
So yeah, this year we definitely have very good communication. Not that we haven't gotten along in the past, but this year we really clicked as a whole unit. There was no like separate cliques or anything. We all came together and we're really playing together this year, and that was our big, like Allie said, our big goal this year is playing together and doing it for each other and everyone on the team.
So then Sunday, you guys make the trek down to Clarion. Pretty long trek. That's a long bus ride there. But able to really go in that game and dominate both of those matchups. How good did that feel, especially after the struggle that was the day before and the tough game that was, to be able to respond like that?
It's very exciting. You know, we got our bats back, got some good hits, put a lot of runs up on the board, and it was really just kind of like a turnaround point for this big weekend we have coming up. Give us really good. We have 2 wins sitting on, got a 2-win winning streak and everything, so we're all set for this weekend.
And it was a good day to get our defense right. Some days we have internal struggles with that, but we really stepped up. I know a lot of people got thrown into some wacky situations, and it was very important that they stepped up and they found confidence in themselves, and the whole team kind of got their confidence back and really figured out what we needed to for this weekend.
So in a game like that, and especially as upperclassmen, being able to see underclassmen really get opportunities and really succeed in those opportunities, how does that, is that a point of pride for you guys as the upperclassmen to see that the underclassmen are doing as successful?
It's huge for me seeing that they can come up in situations where they're just kind of thrown in there last minute and they can make something happen. It's really boosts the confidence level for them, especially being underclassmen, but it also helps us as a team really come together. Like, hey, they know that they can hit the ball, they know that they can drive in runs, and that if we need them in a different situation, they know they can do it.
And then let's talk about this weekend. You mentioned it, it's a big weekend. What do you expect from these couple series?
We're really hoping to at least be at 3-1 this weekend, just take at least a split from each team, if not more. So we're just really hoping to, you know, focus on our defense, our hitting, got to string big hits. That's one of the most important things. If we get runners on, we just got to make sure we find those big hits during the game and string them together, because I think we can really do well this weekend.
It's definitely going to be a tough couple series, but we all believe in each other and we all believe in ourselves. So as long as we're together, we can do it.
So what's going to be the key against or with these games to get those wins?
I know with Lockhaven, they got that lefty pitcher, so I know we really have to sit in our legs and lay off her rise ball, but I think, like I said, the timely hits will be important because we can get runners on. We just got to make sure we can bring them in, and tough defense too, because defense really wins games, and we've like Ali said, we proved it last game that we can do it, so I know that our team could do it this weekend.
I think the biggest thing is going to be energy, because we took one from Bloom with our energy, because as soon as we got going, they just kind of went down, and I think that's the biggest part about the game is having your energy, having your confidence, and everything along those lines. So I think as long as we have energy and as long as we have confidence in ourselves, we just got to play together.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thanks for having us.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
Part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven, conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here. Offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
From court to court and lane to lane under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's talk baseball with assistant baseball coach Andy Shalott. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by here.
Thank you.
So let's start with this past week. Games against Lock Haven after constant pushbacks and weather that never cooperates. Getting those games in obviously didn't go the way that you guys wanted to, but what were some of the things that stood out in that series?
I think it's the same as the first 2 weekends, and that is, while we didn't, we gave ourselves a chance to win 3 or 4 games. The last 3 games, they all came down to 6th inning beyond. They're all 1-run games. In the past, maybe we haven't done that the last couple of years. We're giving ourselves opportunities now. Now we just got to learn how to. We basically just need to learn how to win those close types of games.
So, what are the steps onto doing that? Onto really learning how to close out these games?
Well, I mean, it seems really simple, but like there are games where we really just need to make one better pitch throughout the game. One at bat during a game where we got the bases loaded, where we can actually, get a hit in that type of situation to give us a little cushion. And we've had games where we would have won if we just would have fielded the ball cleanly. We've had a lot of games where we've done 2 of the 3. We just haven't had a lot of games where we've done 3 of the 3 yet.
So the pitching staff really has stood out this year. You've had solid pitching. Of course, there's been a game or so that a pitcher would get roughed up, but what has stood out, and how does it help to have these players who have the experience on the mound?
Just a lot of these guys have just developed. A lot of our guys that are pitching a lot now got to pitch a lot early in their career, and there is a big adjustment going from the high school level to the college level, especially with the PSAC. I mean, the PSAC is just loaded from top to bottom with good teams. And, you know, you just find out pretty early in your career that there's some things that you can do in high school that you don't get away with here. And basically the only way those guys get that experience is through game situations. And now that they've had a couple years of game situations, you know, it's just really served them well going into this year.
So it's still a generally very young team on this squad. So how important have been the senior leaders and the upperclassmen to this group that is new or young?
Yeah, I mean, our seniors have been great, especially a couple of them. You know, when I first got here, we tended to take a lot of junior college players, and we would have, even our seniors would only be here a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
But right now you have Billy Gregory and Evan McAndrew on the pitching staff that have been here 4 years. So, you know, I think just the fact that we have more 4-year guys, you know, it's been a big difference having 4-year guys.
And so, Coach, this weekend, Millersville, another tough opponent. I mean, you could keep saying that for literally every team in this conference, another tough opponent. But what do you expect from that group, and what is going to be the key to getting a victory?
Key to getting a victory, I mean, number one is controlling their run game. Millersville runs very, very well. If you look at their stolen base stats, they're always near the top of the conference every year. They bunt well as well. One thing I think our pitchers have done it particularly well this year is controlling other people's run games. I know East Stroudsburg going into that series, they're another team that runs a lot, and we did a really good job controlling their run game, and that was one of the reasons why we were able to give ourselves chances to win all the games in that series. And you're going to have to do it against Millersville too. They're not a team that just sits there and swings it. They're going to bunt, they're going to hit and run, they're going to steal. Because traditionally they have very good pitching, and they just do those types of things to try to push a run or two across.
So, with coaching, and of course in the spring season, nothing ever goes as planned in terms of weather and getting games really on schedule. So, when you have the chaos that is the weather here in the spring season, what do you guys have to do as coaches, you and Harry Hilson, really to kind of work around that and to get the opportunities you can? And what do you have to do if a game gets moved a day?
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do. Basically, I mean, our players have to be very flexible because pitchers are very structured on what they want to do in between outings. So it is finding out on a Thursday that you're going to be backed up to Saturday, and that's calling Coach Ruck, the strength conditioning coach, and getting in there Thursday night real quick because, you know, if they were going to pitch Friday, they wouldn't be in there. But now that they're pitching Saturday, they are going to be in there. So I think flexibility is the biggest thing. I mean, because, you know, once this season starts, I don't think we've had a weekend yet this year where there hasn't been a weather interruption. So it's almost just assumed that you are going to. I already looked ahead of the forecast. There's an 80% chance of rain on Friday. So I'm already thinking of what we're going to do if we go Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, just the way that this seems to work here in the spring. Well, Coach, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thanks.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
I think that the strengths of the program are the professors.
Actively care about making you a better teacher.
To go into the schools from your freshman year.
We're in the classroom almost every semester that we are here at Mansfield.
It's a Small community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to north central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
From court to court and lane to lane under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours. The home of Division II college sports.
Of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart. A place where you can kick back, unwind, and forget about the pressures of life. Disconnect and reconnect with your friends, family, or even yourself while surrounded by nature's beauty. So start planning your adventures today at visitpottertioga.com.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's once again pull back the curtain and see the behind-the-scenes things that make Mansfield Athletics work with the academic advisor and athletic mentor, Chris Cummings. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me.
So let's talk about that. Your job here, what is your role with Mansfield Athletics?
Okay, so about 50% of my role as an academic advisor on campus is to work directly with our student athletes. That means providing support in a number of different ways. I provide support for student athletes, I guess primarily who are undeclared or who are part of our liberal studies program or associates in liberal studies program. But also I'm a secondary advisor for all of the student athletes that are on our campus, which usually is a group of about 200 plus students.
So what are the most common things that students go to you for assistance or help in?
That's a good question. We're a small institution, and I guess my role, at bigger institutions might be multiple people. So I do a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. One of the most visible ways student athletes see me early on is through our athletic study table program, which I coordinate. That's just weekly required study hours that we base out of the library, and I have a staff of student workers. I do have a grad assistant, which we haven't had in the recent past, which is kind of helping with that, and some other support on campus this semester. But that program, every freshman student athlete comes into that program. They're required to get between 3 and 6, and sometimes a few more hours a week of required, study time where they come in and they log their hours. The other things that I see students for regularly, I work with students who are facing academic difficulty, who are and student athletes who are on academic probation. And those students I see right from the get-go in a semester, throughout the semester typically, but also just general academic advising questions. If a student is undeclared, helping them pick a career path, helping them choose a major that's going to make sense for them as a person and for their future interest. Those kind of things are typical of my day.
So how important is that relationship between yourself and the student athlete to make sure that they trust you and can go to you for any of these things? So how important is that, and then how do you go about building that trust with the student athlete?
Absolutely, that rapport with a student and a student athlete is absolutely essential. I don't command a grade. I don't have control over that. I don't have practice time playing time to hold over their heads. So it's definitely not a case where I'm an authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it's the entire advising model that I use and that the approach that I come from is to build that relationship first. And if student athletes and students in general at Mansfield, if they trust me, then they're a lot more likely to come back to me when they either need help or they've decided that they're going to use the help that I've given them advice on or things like that. So the relationship is absolutely crucial.
Have you found that with different teams, because you deal with every team, so you're in a unique position where, do you find there's different personalities with each team and different things to focus on with each team, or do you try to have a general sense with these student athletes?
I would definitely say, different teams have different needs, different things work with different teams. Part of that is just, our coaches are different. Part of that is, each of our sports probably, might draw different types of people typically into their sport. But then there's the men and women, gender differences and things like that. I guess I would say I have some general principles that I work by that, I believe in, that I think work for every human being. But also, it is different depending on sports team. It is also different depending on the culture of the group that's in front of me, so to speak, right? When you bring in a big freshman class, that changes things. And, teams change over time. And with coaching and administration changes too, things change. So I think that's all depends on the group at the moment.
And with the freshman class, what are some of the things that you have noticed in the differences when a freshman comes here to Mansfield? And really, I mean, they've had to deal with that balance, but not quite to this extent of collegiate athletics, of the balance of school and their sport. Is it a difficult thing to get them to really to buy in, and how quickly do most students buy into that transition?
Yeah, the transition, that's huge. And that's part of the reason that we and most other institutions at this level have programs similar to mine, and especially the study table program. But, it's a lot like going from, a less rigorous academic requirements to more rigorous. And then the same with athletics. When I talk to students, I talk about them basically taking on two, if they're doing it and they're going to get the most out of it, they're taking on two nearly full-time jobs at the same time. And so the balance is, that they have to deal with. There are a lot of time demands on them, and that balance is very difficult for some. And some, and many of our student athletes come right in and they can balance that right away. So that balance piece is definitely a balancing act. And I think that recognizing that and coming up with routines and strategies and connections, the social connections that they have on campus, that help them navigate these experiences. That's why my program is really important, I think.
Also, what is the benefit, of course, because you were a Mansfield athlete when you were here, that you have that experience that you can offer them, the fact that you've been here, you've done this. How much does that make, I guess, your life easier to be able to really relate to these student athletes?
Yeah, I think that's huge too. I think, number one, just having someone who's done athletics, but the fact, that I have those experiences as a student athlete at Mansfield University, I think it makes me more relatable to some of our students. There are students who, my experience is certainly not going to be their experience, and so I recognize that too. But the fact that I sat where they sit at any given point, at least for most of them or many of them, I think that's really helpful for some to kind of recognize, this guy might know what he's talking about. I think the other thing that's important is I know what Mansfield did for me and how it transformed my life, both on the athletic side and the academic side. And so I think those experiences and being able to articulate what some of the most meaningful experiences were for me and for my life, after college and after college athletics ended, I think that's probably one of the most important pieces that those experiences have offered to what I can do for student athletes now.
So do you find that the athletes come to you more for the academic thing in season, or in that out of season where really they can focus mainly on the athletic side, or the academic, side of things?
I don't think I can answer that. I'm not, definitively. I think that, it's important for our student athletes to, and I think Mansfield does a great job of this for the most part, is making sure that academics come first all the time. The numbers, our people aren't going to the professional ranks. We all know that, and I think we all know that coming in. And so it's really important for most of our students get it, that it's really important that academic piece, those are the things that they're going to be relying on once athletics is over, at least once being a student athlete or being an athlete is done, because that day's coming for everybody. And I can speak to those experiences. So I think keeping academics as that top priority is really important. And 99% of our student athletes are really great at making it a priority year round. So,
what is the most rewarding part of your job?
That's a great question. I would say the relationships built and ultimately seeing lives changed. I'm a strong advocate for education, whether you're a student athlete or not. That education, both curricular and co-curricular educational experiences, including athletics, they can change lives, and I see that sometimes on a day, like the day-to-day things that help those kind of transformations take place. When a student learns a new strategy for reading a college textbook that they've never used, and they walk out of my office, or they walk out of the writing center, the learning center, whatever, which we're closely connected with, when they walk out of there with more confidence and with a plan that they believe is going to work, and that I know from research is more likely to work than not having that plan. Those are the kind of things that I find most rewarding.
Well, thank you so very much for stopping by here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
As I've gone through school, I've been trying to pay off my tuition as I go, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of the Mansfield Foundation.
I mean, the Mansfield Foundation already helped me a lot. As of right now, I don't have any school debt whatsoever, and I know the Mansfield Foundation has definitely helped with all the scholarships that I've received over the years for that.
The Mansfield Foundation has helped me out several times throughout my college career. They have helped keep my finances intact.
If you have any sort of instincts, you can get a feel of good people and bad people. Like the people at the foundation are as straightforward as they come.
It's all part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here, offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
It is now time for Play of the Week. Last week, we had baseball and softball for you, and based on your votes, this was your winner.
But, is it time? We'll find out. And a long fly ball over the head of the left fielder. O'Donnell turns third, comes in, there he is! And the Mountaineers won a late inning game on a key 1-run double.
The Joel Snyder walk-off is the first Play of the Week winner here in the spring season. And this week we have 2 more plays. Before we get to them, a quick shout out to Ryan Clifford. Again, breaking that record. We don't have video of it, which is why it does not appear here. But we can't have a Play of the Week without shouting out a Mansfield record being broken. So congratulations once again to Ryan Clifford. But in the battle of Play of the Week this week, it's a long ball battle. The first one comes from Sunday. Abby Woodard, that's her first career long ball at college softball, and they dominated in that game. The second one is a home run from Brady Mangle versus Slippery Rock. He went yard there. You can vote for which one of these long balls will get the week battle by heading over to Twitter at Mountie All Access to vote for Play of the Week. That's going to do it for us, folks. To stay up to date on all things Mansfield athletics, head to GoMounties.com. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.